Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States.
What a great honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald. And for their gracious aid.
I am so sorry
They have
to
been,
my world. I am so sorry to my world. This is not what we want.
we will face challenges.
There's so much
We will
potential
confront options, but we will get the job done.
for beauty and for
Every 4
devastation.
years we gather
In
on
this
these
one
steps
moment, it's
to
just almost
carry out this
incomprehensible
orderly
that they can
peaceful
exist
transfer
right
of
now.
power.
So
And we are grateful
So
to
close.
President Obama.
Welcome to the Willy Bragg Show. I hope you're enjoying the, I guess you could say, 4th anniversary of January 6th, for what it's worth. I'm going to be talking about January 6th today a little bit, and my take on that. We're going to be talking about Trump Derangement Syndrome. I decided to do this because I have a couple of friends that misunderstand, or there seems to be a misunderstanding when I talk about Trump Derangement Syndrome, and I want to clear it up because because I don't want to make it appear like I am dismissing certain aspects of the seriousness that is Trump amidst the goofiness that is his public image. So before I get started on that, I'll go give shout outs to Warren. What's up? Max Sarjay, what's going on? Let's see here. We have Peace Dub. I hope everybody's doing well today. So, and this is kind of not really scripted, but I think that what I'm going to say should clear things up about my perspective on Trump Derangement Syndrome. And I've used the term since then, whenever it became an actual phrase. Now, I was never a supporter of Trump in any way, shape, or fashion. I had to go and repeat myself because I never felt like I never really felt like he was a. I never took him seriously, and that was the thing right there. Now, not taking him seriously, it's not the same as endorsement or support. And what I mean by not taking him seriously, I mean I don't respect him. I don't support him. At best, you could say that I saw him maybe as a disruptor to the status quo. Maybe not a disruptor in the way I like for somebody to be a disruptor, but, sort of the ripping off the mask off an ugly system. In Washington, D.C.'s politics of decorum, sir, have you no dignity kind of mind speak that exists, which is irritating. With due respect, sir, or with due respect, madam, fuck you, you're a son of a bitch, you're an asshole, that sort of thing. Well, Trump would just flat out tell people, fuck you. And that resonated with people. And because he had bad manners, I think that really on a lot of policies, where's he all that different from Mitt Romney? Where's he all that different from a Mitt Romney type, or a John McCain type, or a Lindsey Graham type, or just think of any. I'm going to use some identity politics to make my point. Some old white rich man who's a suit and tie Republican in Washington, D.C. How is he different from all of them? Then that's, and if you consider that some sort of defense of Trump, that's on you. I wouldn't vote for any of those motherfuckers. Trump is included on that list. Now, the thing about it is that I don't like the status quo, and a lot of people don't like the status quo. He's perceived as anti-establishment. Perception and reality are two different things. On a lot of policies, he's a standard Republican. What did he do in 2016 when he got elected? He gave the tiresome tax cuts for the wealthy that benefited the wealthy. You think I like that? You think that I like that that he did nothing to fix our healthcare system? For the liberals out there, you think that I like the fact that he's anti-union? And I know for some liberals, they don't like free speech. They also love that about Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is pro-censorship. And I make it a damn clear point to be opposed to censorship. I have a very free speech absolutist attitude, as you all know. And so, but where I think that liberals do fall under Trump derangement syndrome are things like Russiagate. I don't believe that Trump was connected with Russia. When you go and accuse somebody of things that they're not guilty of, and you focus on that and don't go after the real problems behind, let's say, Donald Trump, that's where the Trump derangement syndrome comes in. I don't believe that Trump is, under the leash of the Kremlin. And I had a problem with that. I've been having a problem with that for the past 8 years, to the point where people call me a pro-Kremlin apologist. I think, and I have made it clear that if I lived in Russia, I would never vote for Putin, okay? But yes, I'm opposed to the NATO police action in the Ukraine. I want negotiations. I want a peace agreement. I don't want Ukraine. Russia's right to not want Ukraine to be a member of NATO. And what the fuck is the United States doing? And what the fuck is the NATO doing backing a country with fucking Nazis in their government, in their military? A country which is objectively, right now as we speak, more authoritarian than Russia is. Not that I'm excusing what Russia did. But I don't believe for a second that Donald Trump is beholden to the Kremlin. In fact, if anything, he basically scrapped the one decent thing Ronald Reagan did while he was president, which was the INF treaty between the United States and the Soviet Union that existed at the time, where the nukes were no longer aimed toward each other. Now they're aimed toward each other as of 2019. All to prove that he was not, sucking Vladimir Putin's cock. So, I'm going to fault Trump for that, What the fuck you doing? Trying to restart the Cold War. That kind of started the Cold War right there. A new Cold War. And here's the thing. Trump derangement syndrome can be described as this. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer back during the first presidency of Trump, calling him an asshole in public, figuratively speaking, but then okaying his agenda, okaying his appointments, his judges. That's a resistance? That's a resistance? That's not any kind of resistance I want to be involved with. My resistance is really opposed to a Donald Trump, but it's also opposed to a Hillary Clinton. And remember, for all the people who love Hillary Clinton, that they never could get over what happened with Donald Trump's victory. The people who faulted Donald Trump, rightfully so, for claiming that that Barack Obama was some sort of secret born Kenyan Muslim trying to destroy Western civilization. Remember that shit from the Tea Party? That started by Hillary Clinton and Sidney Blumenthal back in 2008. They created that rumor. It circulated in the Democratic primary to try to discredit Obama. No fan of Obama, but better person than Hillary Clinton, slightly. That's not saying much, but and what happened? The Tea Party and the right-wing crazies, they started to believe that Barack Obama is a sacred-born Kenyan Muslim trying to destroy America and its Judeo-Christian values and its foundation. That shit was invented by Hillary Clinton. The very people they hate as much as they hate Obama. So, you know what happens? These people went and they voted for Trump. Now, do I hate Trump more than, let's say, George W. Bush? You've heard me say this over and over again. No. I mean, George W. Bush started the Iraq War, and that resulted in the deaths of over 1 million people based on a lie. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that 9/11 was not started by Saddam Hussein's relationship with Osama bin Laden. The only relationship that they had with each other was maybe a mutual relationship with the United States government. Saddam Hussein, United States sold weapons to Saddam Hussein in the 80s against the Iranian government. And the United States provided logistics and provided assistance to the rebels in Afghanistan, where Osama bin Laden was during the 1980s on the CIA payroll, by the way. And all that's mentioned in the 9/11 report. Blowback. And any neoconservative that would hear this and call me a blame America first kind of leftist or what have you, sure, you can do that. But I'm not telling you anything that Ron Paul wouldn't tell you. But I guess some of those guys don't like Ron Paul either. But the thing is that Donald Trump doesn't have the blood on his hands that George W. Bush and Dick Cheney got. While it would be a stretch to say no new wars were created under Trump, Glenn Greenwald was interviewed once and about the foreign policy, and there was less conflict during the Trump administration, but it was done by accident. And that was partly because of COVID, partly because of the battle in the United States between the resistance liberals and the Trump MAGA movement to try to bring Trump down. Never Trumper Republicans and the MAGA movement of Trump loyalists. And so that's basically what it came down to. So it created kind of a chaotic situation. And that chaotic situation, accidentally led to a slightly less aggressive foreign policy of the United States, from how I am understanding things. Not to say that there weren't skullduggery and bullshit and war crimes committed under Trump. There were. The assassination of Qasem Soleimani would be one of them. Selling arms to Saudi Arabia, where the United States is indirectly contributing to a genocide in Yemen. The fucking Abraham Accords, which basically sure is great that Israel and its Arab neighbors will go and have be at peace with each other, but the deal was fuck the Palestinians as a result, and that's what triggered October the 7th. And I understand why the Palestinians were like, "What the fuck is this? Why are you throwing us under the bus?" So so there was a lot of shit that was going on, and the one that offends me the most was trying to topple the government of Venezuela. Who the fuck does Trump or anybody think they are trying to say, well, what was this thing? Juan Guaido is the president of Venezuela, when the people overwhelmingly voted for Nicolas Maduro. Whatever you may think of the government of Venezuela, this should be left up to the people of Venezuela, not the people in Washington, D.C. And what the fuck was Trump doing? Claiming he was draining the swamp, and you have John Bolton in your fucking administration. So, at least he did fire him. And listen, now, at best, for those who are critical of my talking about Trump Derangement Syndrome, yeah, in 2016, I wasn't happy he got elected. In 2016, I didn't pop champagne corks. Yay, Trump got elected. I was more angry that Bernie Sanders got fucked over by Hillary Clinton and the goddamn DNC. I voted for Jill Stein as a protest vote. I was never sorry that I voted for Jill Stein. And if I could go back in time, I would have done it again and again and again and again. And I did, back in November, vote for Jill Stein a second time. I voted for Howie Hawkins in 2020 for exactly the same reason I voted for Jill Stein in 2016. Because Bernie Sanders got fucked over twice. Now, there's a lot I can say about Bernie Sanders. And maybe still kind of have a warm spot in my heart for Bernie Sanders. Although I'm a little irritated. I can get irritated at times with Bernie. But the thing is, that's what motivated me more than anything else to look at Trump and be not taking him seriously. When the Democrats pretend to hate Trump, but they end up cooperating behind the scenes and playing nice with Trump. Look at the quote unquote immigration bill that Trump told Republicans to vote against, which was sculpted in a way that Trump wanted an anti-immigration bill to be. It wasn't immigration reform. It really was immigration bill that was kind of reactive against the Latino community. And they voted against it because they wanted an issue to campaign on. So here's the thing. The massive deportations that could take place. And I'm on the fence whether that's going to take place or not. And if it takes place, you better believe I'll call bullshit on it. And I will be protesting against it and doing everything I can to undermine that. When I go with the resistance, I'm not going with the bullshit pink pussy hat retarded position of, oh, he says mean things. Ew, that's the Trump Derangement Syndrome that puts me off. But Trump wanting to double down on torture, even if it doesn't work, yeah, go after him on that. When the ACLU said we're going after Trump like we went after any other president in 2016, that's the ACLU being the ACLU. It's not the ACLU suffering from Trump Derangement Syndrome. Because whether you like the ACLU or not, and I got some problems with the ACLU today, but the ACLU has gone after every president, Democrat, Republican alike, when they do some bullshit. And hey, Donald Trump has an authoritarian streak. Whether you like the guy or not, he has an authoritarian streak. You know that the ACLU are going to go after anybody that has an authoritarian streak on them. And no, the ACLU is not perfect today. I can name some. I can give you some reasons why they've fallen in some areas. But I just don't. I just want to make it clear where I stand on Trump and why I'm dismissive of some aspects of the resistance movement on the liberal side of the equation, because when the liberals end up doing the Trump Derangement Syndrome, they end up doing it by adopting measures and forming alliances like a horseshoe theory of sorts with the right. Look at what Kamala Harris did. In the words of Breonna Joy Gray, she bumped fists with Dick and Liz Cheney and did not want Bernie Sanders to sit there and campaign for her. And I'm supposed to go, yay, I'm going to, yes, queen, and vote for Kamala Harris? Not in your life. Not in your life. Yes, Donald Trump says terrible things about calling people a Palestinian as if that's an insult. Now, Kamala Harris is as pro-Zionist as Donald Trump. But, you know, the difference is she used softer language. But in the midst of her using softer language, to the other side, even though it's the same policy, softer language is capitulation. They love the symbolism of nasty rhetoric. Can't go along with that. So, with my vote for Jill Stein, I voted for a candidate that was for the Palestinian people. It was my vote for a host of issues that was dear to me. Now let's talk about the January 6th insurrection, if we may. Today's the 4th anniversary of it, and I will have something to say about this. Find the okay, we'll do that one. Yeah, we'll do that one. As you can see here, here's the an example of what happened. They claim that the liberals, excuse me, the right wing claims, and I'm going to bash the conservatives now for a while here. Conservatives claim that the liberals are snowflakes and they couldn't handle it, like you saw the young girl going when Trump got sworn in January 2017. But this is not handling now. And listen, I do not for a second think that Biden cheated against Trump per se. The cheating was against Bernie Sanders. It was not against Trump. But this is not handling it as graciously as they claim to be a cut above the fray.
is January 6th, a date that used to mean very little.
Okay. Hold on a second here. We'll get back to that in a moment if I decide to. My point is, that's a Trump derangement syndrome of sorts right there, what you just saw with the January 6th insurrectionists. It's the kind of Trump derangement syndrome of pro-Trump worship. That should be made fun of all day long. A reality fucking TV host with a horrible comb over, if there ever was one. If I had billions, you think that my hair would look like that? Man who fucking paints his face orange, and they think he's alpha. He's never driven a car in his life. He's never been behind the wheel of a car in his life, maybe a golf cart. And I didn't have time to show make some memes, but you've seen the memes. If you hate Trump, he's this fat bloated guy, and his come over is really exaggerated, and he's just this big fat lump pus of human debris you can imagine. Not very flattering in a nutshell. But if you love Trump, they basically put his head and superimpose it on a Arnold Schwarzenegger style physically strong body. And they make him out to be this hyper alpha male. And so while the first anti-Trump memes are slightly more accurate, it's a bit of an exaggeration. And it's for fucking sure the alpha muscular physique that he tends to be viewed with by the right. That's definitely false. But that's a Trump derangement syndrome. Maybe it should be called Trump devotional syndrome. Maybe that's what it could be called. But I prefer to call it derangement because you are fucking deranged if you worship a billion. If you're a poor working class person trying to make ends meet and you're voting Republican on the get-go, what the fuck is wrong with you? You have more in common. You have more in common with the Black and Latino worker trying to make ends meet than you do some of these billionaires on the top. The bottom versus up. And they use the wedge issues to go and try to divide people. No, you need to realize these things. They want to scapegoat trans people and immigrants and scapegoat teacher unions and feminists and environmentalists and the regulatory state or what have you, woke, what they consider woke, and let me just spill the beans about when they used the term woke. And I'm going to be generous. I'm going to be generous about the right using the term woke, and I could be mean about it. When they use the term woke, it's the new word for socialism. It's the new word for liberalism. It's the new word for anything on the liberal left I don't like. It's a way to shut people up. Something as modest as a minimum wage increase. Oh, that's woke. I don't want it. I don't want it because it's woke. And so that's so they use culture war issues to divide people. And the pseudo liberal left in the Democratic Party kind of do it in their own way too. They'll go and try to rally the troops to make us forget about what things that we need to remember and to fight for. So it's a two-way street in fairness. But yes, I said the Trump derangement syndrome is also a two-way street. There is the liberal version of it, and there's the right-wing version of it. both of it. And I don't believe in political correctness. I'll call it what it is. Both of it, in its liberal form and its conservative right-wing form. The liberal form that hates Trump and the right-wing form that worships and loves Trump. And it's both fucking equally retarded. Trump Derangement Syndrome from the liberal left and Trump Devotional Syndrome, if you want to call it that, it's derangement too, from the right. It's equally fucking retarded. They both should be laughed at. And I thought I'd done that all these years, laughed at both sides in that regard. I do on a daily basis. I mean, I go online, I just see it. I just see both sides with the extreme hatred, and the hatred is over silly shit. Eating steak, dumping ketchup on it. You know, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if he takes a shit on a golden toilet. I give a damn about Project 25 and the Supreme Courts. I also gave a damn that Joe Biden did not do what he needed to do to reverse some of the damages done by Trump. Remember, there were supposed to be no fundamental changes. A lot of damages was done to our courts in this country because of the Trump's first term. And it's going to be nearly damn impossible. Even if you rely on the Democrats, it's going to be damn near impossible to get anything done, even under the very best scenario. Even if the Democratic Party get its act together and they become a Labor Party or a Social Democratic Party of some sort, and Clintonism is eradicated as an ideology, even if that was to happen, the courts will make damn sure Medicare for all and labor law reform and jobs guarantee program and infrastructure. They're going to make sure none of this ever happens. Green New Deal, you name it. They're going to make sure public financing of elections, this sort of thing. Anything that's going to clean the system up and reform. They're going to make sure it doesn't happen. And the Democrats could have done something about it during the Biden presidency. Some people get mad at me for saying this. There's two things they could have done. They could have done a combination of those two things, or one of them. I'll go with the really more radical one. They could have stacked the courts with 5 or 6 more seats to make sure that if Trump comes back in, it would be impossible for him to fill in those court seats, to do any more further damage. Or impose term limits and make them retroactive on the courts. Or a combination of. Realistically, I would say maybe the retroactive term limits, or maybe just term limits. We're long overdue, but I favor term limits for U.S. House and representatives and U.S. Senate. I've always did. Even when I was a yellow dog Democrat back in the early 90s, I thought that was one area where the Republicans were correct. And the Republicans were correct in the 1990s, prior to 1994, when they used to talk about term limits, because they were for term limits because they were so out of power for so long. But once Republicans started winning congressional elections, with a majority in both houses, all that talk about term limits, you hardly ever hear them talk about it anymore. And they're not going to talk about it. And why should they? Because they don't want to lose their power, but they accuse the Democrats of wanting to be elected for the sake of power. They want power too. Both parties want power. Why do you think that there's just 2 parties in existence? But I'm sort of veering off as I normally do. in a nutshell, and I have to go in a minute, but in a nutshell, Trump Derangement Syndrome exists across the spectrum. I don't use the term Trump Derangement Syndrome because I'm pro-Trump. I'm not. I'm not, because I don't like billionaires. I'm not a Republican. I would never vote Republican. The Democratic Party, as it is today, is too conservative for me. I resent the fact that the United States is not a normal country in many respects. The fact that we do not have a national health care system is an embarrassment. The fact that we don't have, at a minimum, 35% of the workforce unionized, that's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment that Trump got elected as president and you have Elon Musk calling all the shots. So much for American first, motherfuckers. That's the George Soros of the right. And Donald Trump has cucked himself, not by the Kremlin, but they have cooked themselves by this South African racist piece of shit who came here as an illegal alien. I'm talking about Elon Musk, who ended up getting all these contracts from the U.S. government, welfare queen as far as I'm concerned, and he's not patriotic. He deals with governments that the United States are hostile to because he's a greedy motherfucker. He's not America first. All you MAGA freaks out there who are pro, even though there's a wedge between, he's caused kind of a wedge, but some of those are still giving Elon Musk the benefit of the doubt. What the fuck are you doing? You hate George Soros, but you don't hate Elon Musk? What the fuck are y'all doing? So anyway, and never forget that Elon Musk supports Alternative for Germany. I just want people to know that. Alternative for Germany. Alternatives for Germany is a political party in Germany that's, I guess, not officially neo-Nazi, but neo-Nazi adjacent enough that some people who support that ideology feels comfortable in there, if you catch the drift. So anyway, Trump Derangement Syndrome, I think is silly in whatever form. And for those who are on my side of the fence, and I'm talking about those in good faith, when I use that term, I'm just talking about the goofiness, the non-offensive goofiness of Trump that some within the resistance emphasize instead of going after what they need to go after. That's what I mean. Some quick announcements for you all, and I'll talk to y'all ever so quickly because I'm, again, budgeting for time. There's going to be some schedule change on the Willy Bragg show. For the time being, it's still going to be at 8 o'clock, but the days are going to change a little bit. The Monday show, Wednesday show will remain, but the Friday show, I will not do a Friday show from now on. I'm going to change the thing when I can. It's going to be on Thursday. So we're talking about Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It will be the Willy Bragg show. That's going to be the new thing. And I'm going to work on having it probably done at 7 o'clock at a certain point. But I'm just going to try to ease on into that. This Wednesday, there will not be a Wednesday show, the Willy Bragg show. But there will be maybe a Tuesday show tomorrow night, a little bit later, and there may be there will be a Thursday show at 8 o'clock. So I just want to make that clear, and I will make it a little more officialized in the next few days. I'm just giving y'all thumbs up on my plans right now. And anyway, I talked a very long time. So excuse me. Let's see. Max RJ, you showed up. Hey, how are you doing today? All right. Oh yeah, I remember you were here earlier. Yeah. Around the World with D and Friends. How are you? And Chuck's Intergalactic UFO Show. The weather keeps messing up with my navigation also on my ship. Well, I hope things get better, Chuck. Let's see here. Looking through here. Do we have anybody? Desert Mantis. How are you today? I guess that's it, folks. So you heard my announcements, and I'm going to be going in a moment. So if you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment any way you should disagree with what I have to say. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the contents on the channel. As the First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. So I want y'all to do just that and muckrake away. Yay! Also, to remember to subscribe to the Willy Bragg Show. Reject corporate media because they have nothing to offer, not a damn thing. Free and pardon Ed Snowden. Fully pardon Julian Assange. Free Palestine. Free healthcare for all. And for the sake of our activism, so we can have a voice, protect all free speech. I'm Willy Bragg. I will catch you guys later. See you. Bye-bye.